Hey guys, welcome to the Sorcery Showdown channel. Today I'm going to be going over my Dragon deck. I put it together last year. I put it together while I was at work. Did it in about 2 hours, one day. Very proud of that. And it was probably the most fun I had putting together a commander deck of any type. I really had no limits. All the colors were available to me. I just needed to know what was legal and what wasn't legal. Very, very proud of it. The deck has changed a little bit in the last almost year that I've had it. Like I said, July is about when I finished it, and then all of the cards were purchased in September. It is a little bit of a pricey deck. Right now, all the cards in total are about $900. I did not spend $900. I was actually very fortunate. I had some of the cards, so that lowered my costs. Other cards were just extremely lucky pulls. Nothing I could do about that. And then I had store credit with a bunch of other places, some of my local game shops, Card Kingdom. I had that, and then I had a bunch of cards that I had nothing to do with them. Friends didn't want them. Some stores wouldn't even take them. So I eventually just kind of sold those in bulk. Whatever places would take them, I sold them. Of my own money, I have probably put in maybe $200. The rest of it, like I said, lucky pulls, already had it, or I had store credit from years and years, and it just kind of worked out that way. Deck has changed a little bit. Very, very proud of this deck. I have been playing with it a lot since I made it, and my brother-in-law, who you also see on this channel, he is not a fan. We've recorded playing with it a couple times. I have played with it so much more, and almost every time I win with it. Everybody that goes against it, I'll say good things about it. I used to not be very good at deck building. This deck, I put a lot of effort into it, so I'm very, very proud of it. It is a thorn in a lot of people's sides, which, I'm happy about. It's been a while since I've been able to say that. So I'm going to go over it, go over every little bit of it, and some little fun facts about it and some opinions. Yeah. All right, so we're going to start with the actual commander, which is the Dragon. Foil cost me about $39. The non-foil was only a couple dollars difference. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go for the foil one. This is the 2017 Commander version of it. Wasn't that big of a fan of the alternative artwork from the Commander Masters series, which was even more expensive. So I was like, I'm just going to go old school, and I'm happy with it. It's a beautiful looking card. Next would be my Planeswalker, which is Nicol Bolas. Fun Planeswalker, pretty straightforward. I do run a lot of legendary creatures, and it's -8, which is each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or Planeswalker loses the game. Many of the people I play with, they do have a couple legendary, but they don't run as many as I do. And as I get further into the deck, you'll see why. Next, we're going to go with the enchantments. So first one is Mirari's Wake. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana for any type of land produced. This is a really good card because, as you'll see when it goes to my creatures, I run pretty expensive ones. So this kind of helps alleviate some of that. And I do have some other ways to cheat out cards as well. But it's a good one. I run it in another commander deck, and I'm happy with it. Next is going to be Crucible of Fire. Pretty straightforward. Dragon creatures you control get +3/+3. Gives them a nice little boost. Dragon Tempest. Really good if you're running Dragon Tribal. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under my control, it gains haste until the end of the turn. Really good if, you know, bringing out the Dragon or another big heavy creature. That's a good thing to do. And then also it's a double whammy. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under my control, deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons I control. You know, double whammy. Who can argue with that? And then the other one, which my brother-in-law is not a fan of, is Bower's Passage. Creatures with flying can't block creatures you control. This is a lot of fun for me because one of his decks is an Angel Tribal deck. So this really just kind of, really just stops him in his tracks. So it's a lot of fun. All right, next we will move on to the artifacts. So first one is Dragon Arch. Tap it to put a multicolored creature from my hand onto the battlefield. Sorry about that. Quick way to get creatures out. So that's a good sheet right there. Next is Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind. Add a mountain. If it's used on a dragon, it gains haste until the end of the turn. Dragon's Horde, another good card for Dragon Tribal. You put a gold counter on it whenever a dragon enters the battlefield. You remove a gold counter, you could draw a card, or add 1 mana of any color. So it gives options, which I like options. So the next two big ones are Mana Crypt and Jeweled Lotus. So Mana Crypt was a lucky pull. Nobody believes me. I pulled it from the Ixaland gift bundle box, and I called my brother-in-law and I even texted him, and he was in amazement as well as quite a bit of frustration. Jeweled Lotus, I actually did buy this card. I had plenty of store credit that actually paid for this card and a whole nother card. This ran me about 127 for that version. There are more expensive ones, but this is a card I've always wanted, and I'm super happy to have it in this deck. Jade Orb of Dragonkind, add a forest, and they get +1/+1 on it until the end of the battlefield, as well as hexproof. Pretty straightforward. Firemine Vessel, 2 mana of different colors. Again, more options. Can't go wrong with that. Soul Ring, gotta have a Soul Ring. Urza's Incubator. This one is another great card. I got this from, well, I didn't get it from him, but I got the idea from it from my brother-in-law, who runs it in his Angel Tribal deck. And this allows me to get 2 colorless less to cast a creature, which comes in handy. Again, when I get to the creatures, you'll see why this is important. Arcane Signet. You got to have an Arcane Signet. Herald's Horn. Does something similar to Urza's Incubator, except it only allows my creature to cost 1 less. But the great thing about it is that at the beginning of my upkeep, look at the top card of my library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, I may reveal it and put it into my hand. So again, helps me get things out a little bit quicker, gives me more options. Quicksilver Amulet. Cost 4 to bring out, 4, tap it. I may put a creature card from my hand onto the battlefield. Another great way to cheat out big creatures, which I tend to have trouble with from time to time. And then Commander Sphere. You got to have a Commander Sphere. All right. Next, we will do the instance. Very simple. Doomblade. Destroy target non-black creature. Wretched Confluence. I do like this card. I'm unsure if I'm going to keep it, though. Just because I mainly will really ever use the last ability, which is return target creature card from my graveyard to my hand. It does allow me some more options, and I get to choose 3, so I can choose, you know, any order of these 3 that I want. I usually choose the 3rd one because it gives me more options of what I want to do and how I want to bring creatures back. Ojutai's Breath. It doesn't tap target creature. It doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. It also has a rebound. you know, this is a great card if you have a creature that you're going up against. It's kind of a problem. That's a good card to have. I think that was a random pull as well. Permission denied. This comes from the Universes Beyond, the Jurassic World version. I did not pull this. In fact, actually, a coworker gave me this card. Counter target non-creature spell. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. I do like this card. I'm a little iffy on it. I did have Counterspell originally, which cost 2 blue. This costs a blue and a white. I do like it. I'm also a big fan of Jurassic Park, so I like having that card, but I don't know. May make a change back. Not entirely sure yet. And then next is Fierce Guardianship. So this came from the Commander Masters series. If I control my commander, I don't have to pay for its mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell. This was also a random pull. I bought a collector booster last July and pulled this card. And at the time, it was a $65 card. Now it goes for about $85. My wife wasn't overly thrilled when I bought that collector booster pack because it was kind of expensive, but this card kind of made up for it, and everybody really loves this card. I've had a few people ask to do a trade. I'm not going to trade it because I like it and I need it, but yeah, that was a very lucky pull. And then next we'll go into the sorcery. So first one is Rise of the Dark Realms. Put all creature cards from all graveyards onto the battlefield under my control. I've known of this card for a while. I run it in my Prosh deck. I really enjoy this card, especially when my friends and I are going at it. We're always, you know, just killing each other's creatures. So this this gives me a lot of good options here. All right, next is Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. It's a legendary sorcery. I could only cast it if I control a legendary creature or planeswalker. Return all legendary permanent cards from the graveyard to the battlefield. Again, I like to bring stuff back, and I do run a lot of legendary creatures, so this kind of helps, gives me a little bit more insurance. Explosive Vegetation. I get 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped. Genesis Ultimatum. Oddly enough, even though it has a really weird mana cost of 2 red, 3 blue, and 2 green, more often than not, I'm able to pull this out pretty quickly, and it's a really great way to jumpstart the game a little bit on my end. A lot of people aren't the biggest fan of that card, rightfully so. It's a great card. Honestly, I enjoy it. It really helps, whether it's in the beginning of the game, middle of the game. Really just gives out a lot of different options for me. Crux of Fate, choose one, destroy all dragon creatures, destroy all non-dragon creatures. A lot of people are like, well, it seems like a wasted card because it feels like almost always you'll choose non-dragon creatures. And you'd be right, majority of the time I am doing that, but there are times when I really, you know, I will destroy my own dragons because I might be going against somebody with dragons and it can help level the playing field. Nothing wrong with a bit of insurance. And then, I never know how to pronounce this. Austri command, whatever. Choose 2, destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with mana value 3 or less, or mana value 4 or greater. Again, it's more insurance. If I don't like what's going on in the field, I can reset it a little bit. So I am a really big fan of this card. Now, the last sorcery I have in this deck is Insurrection. Now, I will tell you, without any sort of exaggeration, my brother-in-law absolutely hates this card. I run this in Prosh as well, and I have won so many games off of this card. It's honestly ridiculous. I'm a big fan of it. Again, it's insurance. It allows me to do a bunch of different things, whether I want to, you know, end the game quickly, or if someone's getting a little OP, you know, take the bullet for the team. Well, not the team, but take the bullet for the table and just kind of get rid of that person. Um, Maybe not the nicest way to win a game. A lot of people aren't a fan of it. My brother-in-law, again, especially does not like it, but I love it, so it's in the deck. And then we will get to the lands. So I run 5 of every basic land in this deck. A couple different art versions. So yeah, so 5 of each: plains, island, swamp, mountain, and forest. I'm a stickler for artwork, so as you can kind of see, a couple of these ones have a bunch of different artwork. I get tired of the normal ones, so I like to spice it up, have a little bit something different in here. Also, every commander deck that I have is foil lands. I don't like regular lands. I like them to be foil. I am, I guess, ostentatious that way. But again, I like to stand out with my decks, and I think that that kind of helps. Actually, as a matter of fact, too, with these basic land ones, I have ordered all of the Jurassic World basic lands because they're double-sided, and I made sure to order all foil. So those will be going in here, even though it's a Dragon Tribal deck. Whatever, I like the artwork on them, so those will be going in here. So some of these, especially like these basic ones, they will be coming out to make room for those ones. Now for the more exciting lands, we have Cavern of Souls. This, again, lucky pull. Regular pack, not a collector, not a bundle box, just a regular booster pack. Pulled it. It's foil. Absolutely love it. And then we got Mystic Monastery, Overgrown Tomb, Temple of the False God, Thriving Moor, Windscarred Crag. Just a couple different versions of lands. Again, more options. You know, can never have too many options. I used to have more of the thriving lands, but as you'll see in a moment, I took a lot of those out to make room for some other stuff. Put those right there. So a couple other ones was Undergrowth Stadium. Also, this was actually a pull from the same pack that the Fierce Guardianship came out of, so that was a really good pull. And then I have a good chunk of Shocklands, so I have Watery Grave, Canopy Vista, Breeding Pool, Prairie Stream, and Godless Shrine. I am trying to get a mountain style Shockland in here because I have plenty of the plains, the islands, and a couple of the forests. So trying to get in some of the more mountain ones, but just haven't had the time to or, well, I guess the cash to do it. I've been putting money into other decks. But those are all of the lands, and now we get to the fun part, which are my creatures. So we will go, let's do that. So, Dracoseth, Maul of Flames, Morophon the Boundless. Try to bring that one closer. So this one's really good. It's a changeling, heavily foil. I did in fact pay for this one. Spells of the chosen type, because you choose a creature type, cost 1 each of the mana, less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana I pay. And other creatures I control of the chosen type get +1/+1. So really good card to have if you're running Dragon Tribal, or really any kind of tribal. That's a good one. Kari, the Swirling Sky, Jinji, the Midnight Sky, Scourge of the Throne, Dragon Speaker Shaman. Really good way, another good way to get cards out faster. Dragon spells cost 2 less to cast. You will notice a theme that I do try to lower the cost of my stuff, and especially the fact that the Dragon has Imminence, which all dragon creatures cost one colorless less, really helps get cards out quicker. Sorry about the glare. So we got the Scion of the Dragon. Really, I mean, I don't know anybody that plays the Dragon that doesn't have this card in there. Search your library for a dragon card, put into the graveyard. If I do, it becomes a copy of that card until end of the turn, then shuffle your library. Again, more options. Can't go wrong with options. And I also, honestly, if I'm being quite honest, I pair it a lot with this card right here, Zergo and Ojutai. He has Hexproof when he enters the battlefield this turn. Flying in haste 4/4, and whenever one or more dragons deal combat damage to a player or battle, sorry guys, it's a little hard to read. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. You may return one of those dragons to its owner's hand. So, good options. Dragon Lord Dramoka. It's basically the dragon version of Grand Abolisher. Opponents can't cast spells during my turn. So that's honestly a lot of fun. We have the Goldspan Dragon, Icefall Regent, Miriam Sentinel Worm. Whenever another non-dragon enters the battlefield under my control, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's just not legendary. Really good card to have. Arcbound Whelp, Teneb the Harvester, Ramos Dragon Engine. Goldspan Dragon, really good card to have. Flying in haste, and his treasure tokens that he creates, you get 2 of any one color. So that's really good to have. Ramos Dragon Engine, same thing, you know, just more options, gets things out a little quicker. Put +1/+1 counter on it for a spell of each of that spell's color, and then when you remove 5, you get 2 of each mana. So really let you have more options and kind of, you know, get things out a bit quicker. Especially if you see some of the mana costs on some of these guys, they are expensive. All right, Hellkite Cursor. So I want to talk about this one. So this one I just pulled a few months ago from a booster pack, and as soon as I saw it, I immediately threw it in. You get to bring out your commander for free for a turn. I mean, how can you not want that? Earthquake Dragon, really good card to have. Atarko World Render. All your dragons get double strike until the end of the turn. Who wouldn't want that? Tyrant's Familiar. It's my lieutenant. As long as I control my commander, he gets +2/+2, and has whenever he attacks, he deals 7 damage to target creature defending player controls. Again, how can you argue with that? It's a good card to have. Owl of the Dawn Sky. Ancient Gold Dragon. I really wish this would pay off more than it than it has, but you know, you're rolling a d20, you're left a chance. Good card to have, expensive card to have, but you know, it works. Roaming Throne, really good for any tribal deck. Obviously, as you've seen, a good amount of my dragons, when something happens, when they get a triggered ability, Roaming Throne allows me to, you know, do it again. So also pulled that. I actually pulled 2 of these from a gift bundle box. Not the one I got the Mana Crib, but I pulled 2 of these, gave one to my brother-in-law for his Angel deck. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Scion of Draco, another really good card. Domain, it costs 2 less. So let's get that zoom in right now. Costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type among lands I control. And then for each color, creatures do stuff. So obviously this pairs really well with the Dragon. Highly recommend it. Expensive card, but highly recommend it. Atsushi the Blazing Sky. Okagachi Vengeful Kami. Good card. Rapacious Dragon. and Ryusi the Falling Star. When it dies, it deals 5 damage to each creature without flying. So obviously, I run dragons. This really would only affect my Roaming Throne and my Morophon. But, you know, small price to pay, and it would really only kill Roaming Throne, but, you know, it is what it is. Um, Still a good card to have. I run this in my Prosh deck as well, so brought it back for the Dragon. And then the last two creatures, so there's Thundermaw Hellkite. Pretty good card. When it enters the battlefield, deals 1 damage to each creature with flying my opponent's control, and then tap those creatures. So that's really good if you already have a good army out of creatures. Can kind of help do your kill swing. And the last one is the Balefire Dragon. This one I originally wanted in my deck. It's a $10 card, 10 to 12 depending on where you go. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. I wanted this in the beginning, but I was running low on the store credit I had from Card Kingdom, and I put those resources to other cards that were cheaper. But when I went to go visit my brother-in-law in Washington, saw this card, had to get it. Really happy it's in the Dragon. Really, it wasn't a question of getting it in there. And I believe I took out the blue dragon to make room for Balefire Dragon. So worked out in the end. Alright guys, so that was my Dragon deck. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feel free to comment on them. Obviously, the deck is always changing as new cards come out. Made a couple series of changes since that, and obviously with Thunder Junction just coming out, there's plenty of cards from there I actually want to throw in here as well. Well, not plenty, there's like 2, but either way, yeah, feel free to comment if you have any questions, comments, suggestions. Always open to it. And in the future, we will be showing more of the decks that we've built. I have about 7 commander decks to go through. My brother-in-law has a couple handful as well. So yeah, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.